Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a great movie, and it's not just me saying that. On Rotten Tomatoes, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish has a 95% On Rotten Tomatoes, the critics have given it a 95%, and the audience score is 94%. And on IMDb, it has a 7.9 out of 10 star rating. Well-made animated movies seem few and far between these days. The latest installment in the Shrek franchise took 11 years since the first Puss in Boots to come out. The Last Wish has been slowly and steadily gaining money at the box office. With a current $341 million at the box office, it is, as of right now, the lowest grossing in the franchise. Even though it didn't have the biggest opening weekend, it is still slowly increasing and looks like it's outpacing the original Puss in Boots. Even if it doesn't top any of the previous Shrek films or the first Puss in Boots, it is still a big win for DreamWorks. Let me explain why. So as of right now, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish has made $341 million at the box office. The next closest film is the original Shrek, released in 2001 with $491 million. The original Puss in Boots that released in 2011 made $555 million. But let me explain why this is still a win for DreamWorks. You see, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish only had a budget of $90 million. The original Puss in Boots had a budget of $130 million. So that's a $40 million budget difference, and the new movie looks way better than the original. Another interesting thing to note, less than 30 days since it's been in theaters, it is now available to buy and rent at home. So you can buy this movie for $30 or rent it for $25 on Amazon, Vudu, Apple TV. This is very interesting because it's still in theaters and it's only been in there for a month, and any money that they earn from rentals or people purchasing it doesn't go towards their box office numbers, which only makes their current box office number that much more impressive.
Back to budget.
And this is the lowest budget in the Shrek franchise since Shrek 2 in 2004. And it's no secret that with the improvements in technology and animation, animated movies have gotten more and more expensive to make. For instance, let's take a look at the two Disney releases this year. First, there's Lightyear, which had a budget of $200 million USD. And secondly was Strange World, which had a budget between $135 million to $180 million, which these movies are more than double the budget of Puss in Boots. Another interesting thing to note is these two movies that Disney put out this year did not do well. They didn't even break even. Lightyear, with a $200 million budget, is the same budget that Spider-Man 2, Titanic, X-Men Dark Phoenix, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Godzilla the King of Monsters had, which is crazy to think that an animated movie can have a budget anywhere near those big movie budgets. So firstly, Lightyear, with their $200 million budget, only made $218 million at the worldwide box office before being released on Disney+, which is, on the surface, not that great, as they barely broke even with their budget, and not to include marketing costs and other promotional costs, they definitely didn't break even. Secondly, Strange World, which had a budget of $135 to $180 million, which again is essentially double what Puss in Boots: The Last Wish's budget was, only made $68.9 million at the box office. This was a tremendous loss for Disney, and they probably lost over $100 million on this movie. What is the difference maker? Why did Lightyear and Strange World and other animated movies are not doing as well as what DreamWorks been doing right now? Well, it comes down to the quality of movies. Lightyear has a 2.7 stars on Google reviews, a 6.1 on IMDb, a 74% by the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. People just didn't like the movie. And the same thing for Strange World. Had a 2.6 star out of 5 on Google reviews, 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 5.6 on IMDb. People won't go to movies that they don't think are good. And this is definitely evident with Puss in Boots' ratings and, well, quite frankly, their box office numbers that it's pulling in. It's gonna pretty soon make more than double what Lightyear made, and Strange World is not even anywhere close to what Puss in Boots has managed to drag in. In addition, the other movie that DreamWorks released this year was The Bad Guys, and that made $250 million at the box office. Again, more than Lightyear and Strange World. And again, this movie doesn't have as good reviews as the new Puss in Boots, but it still has respectable reviews, with Rotten Tomatoes having an 88% and 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb. It's a respectable movie, and its box office reflects that. So it's becoming quite apparent that Disney doesn't have the big advantage in the animated movie department anymore, with other companies such as DreamWorks and Illumination starting to take over and producing big hits like Puss in Boots or like Minions: Rise of Gru, as we saw last year. Especially with new movies in development by DreamWorks such as Kung Fu Panda 4, Shrek 5. Could we be seeing a reemergence of the DreamWorks Renaissance? And it proves that all you need is a compelling enough story with interesting characters and an intriguing antagonist. It's become clear that they're committed to making these stories at a high quality, and they found new ways to blend 3D and 2D animation resulting in cheaper budgets that don't affect the overall quality of the movie, and to an effect that people actually enjoy the look better than the original 3D. So do you guys think we're on the verge of a DreamWorks Renaissance? Let me know what you think in the comments below.